This is the hydraulic lift, or the arm of the lift. And if you'll notice, this thing spins all the way around this way, and it spins this way. And the lift goes up and down. These clamps are what hold it in place. And as I show in my safety video, I like to take a pair of ordinary vice grips and put a clamp right here, because it holds this thing in place. Click. And now that thing won't move.
It's what's called a rosebud torch. And it can be used in both ways. You can use a soft flame, or you can use a real tight cutting flame. This is a bigger chamber, larger, longer tip. Tip usually about the size of anywhere from a quarter up to about $1/2. And once again, the more you turn these knobs up, the more gas you put through it, the bigger the flame becomes. When you tighten it up, it's almost... In this part of the video, what I'm going to do for you is identify each part of the radiator. And this that I have in my hand is the side rail. And typically the side rails are soldered onto the left and the right of each radiator. And then we have what's called the tanks. And the tanks are also soldered onto what's called the core. The core consists of fins that go back and forth, the tubes that go up and down, and the header plate is what the tank solders onto to attach itself to the core. The header plate looks like this. If you're using a flush gun or a steamer, what you don't want to do is you don't want to stand up high on it and aim down the fins, because it's going to knock all those fins over. So you take your steam cleaner, power washer, pressure washer, whatever it is, and you keep the gun level with the fins. You can wash it off with up to a 2,000–3,000 pound pressure washer, and it won't hurt it at all as long as you stay back from it and as long as you keep it straight. And we also want to fill the radiator with the fins level. Instead of like this, you always want the radiator to sit like this with your hand. Remember, this is the tank, the header, and in the core we have the tubes that run up and down, and the fins run like this. So you always want the fins level to you when you paint. You don't ever want the fins to where they're up like this. So.
All right, in this section of the video, this relates to industrial. Doesn't matter if it's industrial, Caterpillar, diesel radiator. You'll notice this thing has bolt holes in it. And I'm going to talk to you for a second, then I'm going to give you a close-up, but this thing has bolt holes in it. It doesn't matter what it is. Any of those things, industrial, Caterpillar, and diesel truck. In some cases, you need to know how to take a header off. I'm going to take the header off of this, and I'm going to show you how to put it back on and what to do with the plate once you get it off. So I'm going to heat it up, and I'm going to run all this solder off, and I'm going to have to stop the video a few times because I'm going to heat it up, take it off, then I'm going to flip it up and put it up here on the core and show you what it looks like after it cools down. But I'm going to zoom in, and then I'm going to heat it up and tear it off there for you. Actually, I'm going to remove it. I don't want to use the word tear because that's what I'm trying to get you to not do. We don't want to tear it apart. We just want to remove it from the core without tearing anything. So here we go. The torch of choice is going to be our rosebud, of course. We're going to need a hammer. Not a big hammer, mind you. Just a hammer. You shouldn't need any more than that. And maybe like a wire brush. That's it. That's what you're going to take it off and put it back on with. If you need more than that, something's wrong. There's a flame. Kind of a medium flame. Probably turn it up. It's going to take a little bit to get it off there. I got my glasses on. Don't ever work on industrial stuff or anything without your glasses. Yeah, it's going to snap, crackle, pop. See that just running off there? So, first thing to know about working on V-cells is don't get in a hurry. Little bitty flame. Kind of hard to see, but yeah, right there. Little bitty flame. This thing has a barrier in it right here in the middle, so you got to heat that up. You might want to pay attention to where the hose connections are, because sometimes they come out. This is an aftermarket one, but I'm going to try to stay in. And what you want to do is you want to pull those crimps back only enough to get the tank off. I've worked with radiator men that would lay these suckers over to where you could have put a big thick screwdriver through it, and it's just not necessary. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull these crimps off, and if you'll notice, I'm kind of turning this thing sideways. I don't have it straight up and down. I've got it kinked kind of sideways. And down, and some of the components of this radiator, or the parts of it, is we have right here, this piece is a cast hose connection. This one is brass. And this one here, it's meant to be more of an industrial, long-lasting, non-rotting. That sucker right there is 35, 40 years old, and it still is intact. And it'll go another 20, 30 years and still be intact. We have steel side rails, soldered here, soldered down here. Some side rails will be welded down here, down here at the bottom will be welded. In that case, what that means is, and you'll have to take it unsoldered here and unsoldered on the other side of it and pull the rails off, stretch them out a little bit and pull them off. Here's the flame I'm going to use. It's kind of soft, kind of a small flame, nothing real big, not a blowtorch. I'm going to heat up the rod. I'm going to take the rod and I'm just going to warm it just a little bit. And after it's warm, I'm going to put it down in the flux and look at what it does. When you warm it, it's going to take some of that flux and it's going to leave it on the rod. When it does that, you're ready. You're going to warm the tube just a little bit. It's a get on it and get off it kind of a thing. Okay, I just want to talk for a second. It's pretty ready. I heated it up and I brushed it, and look at the difference. I'm going to do a real tight close-up so you can see some of it. It is polished. Before it was all brown. Now you can see on those tubes they're glowing, see? It's all polished. What needs to happen is, most of these air coolers, when they break, what breaks is very simply this. Where the tube goes into the header plate, it usually cracks. And it'll crack at the corners. Very rarely does it crack in the middle. So all you have to do is put a little bit of weld with your aluminum rod and your flux